Y'all know we're always gonna hype our local theater scene, but sometimes we know people want to get away. That's why if you're headed to the Northeast, I'm gonna put y'all on to the Williamstown Theater Festival this summer. From July 17th to August 3rd, among the Berkshire Mountains in northwestern Massachusetts, over 130 artists will take the stage for nearly 100 performances. Some of the offerings include a world premiere from Jeremy O. Harris, a production of Camino Reels starring Pamela Anderson and Nicholas Alexander Chavez, and a new adaptation of a Samuel Barber opera. Discounted hotel rooms are available through June 1st. Go to WTFestival.org and make your plans to immerse yourself in theater this summer. Make sure you stay tuned after the interview for a conversation sponsored by Women Employed. Executive producer Simone Alicea will be talking with their CEO about their working lunch event. Stick around to learn more. Today on CityCast Chicago, as the weather warms up, I have fully entered biking season. But maybe you don't have a bike yet, or you need to fix a few things up. This is the perfect episode for you. Last spring, we talked with a cyclist and mechanic from the Recyclery, a bike repair co-op in Rogers Park, to get tips for buying and maintaining a bike in Chicago. It's Wednesday, May 14th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago is talking about. So we're sitting here with cycling enthusiast and mechanic Liam Oline. Liam, welcome to CityCast Chicago.
Hey, what's going on? It's good to be with you today.
For people who may be on the fence, who want to do a little bit more biking, maybe even considering buying their first bike to hit the road, can we start with talking about why is biking such a great benefit for folks?
Well, biking is a fantastic means of transportation, especially in a city. With a bike, you don't got to worry about parking, you know what I mean? You can beat and get to places that public transport can't take you. I often feel like there's big holes in where our city's trains and buses go, and the bike can fill in those holes. And it's also incredibly environmentally friendly, right? There's no emissions from a bicycle. And it's a great workout and it improves your mood. So it's my preferred means of locomotion around the city.
Mm-hmm. So between transportation, environmental footprint, when you're also thinking about exercise, there's so many great benefits to biking, but it can also be a little overwhelming to get into cycling. Like the people who really love it, let's just be real, they're big advocates. They take it very seriously. Chicago has a bunch of different terrains. There's so many different types of bikes out there. So is there a sort of right bike to get for Chicago?
There is many different right bikes for Chicago. Chicago is a very forgiving city bike-wise. It is flat as a pancake, which means that, first of all, you don't necessarily need multiple gears on your bike. You can get by with a single speed bike here in Chicago. That being said, gears are nice. They do allow you to accelerate and decelerate with a little bit more precision. And for me, a lot of what makes a good bike in Chicago is a bike that is good around cars.
When you say good around cars, what does that mean?
The first thing that might come to mind is flat handlebars. So everybody likes the drop handlebar look that you see on some road bikes, you know, those curly handlebars that come down and make a bike look super sleek and fast.
It requires you to bend over a little bit more as well.
It makes you bend over more, and it makes the bike a bit more twitchy handling-wise. A flat handlebar, especially a wide flat handlebar, can take a lot more physical input before swerving this way or that. So it's more forgiving and a little bit more responsive around cars, right? You see mountain bikes, they have those flat handlebars. Why? To swerve around trees and whatnot. Why would cars be any different?
If I'm somebody who is not necessarily a bike enthusiast, but I'm walking into a store, sure, I can ask the person at the counter. I can maybe talk with somebody who works there, but depending on what kind of store, maybe the help will range. But I go and I see racing bike, I see mountain bike, I see road bike. When I'm thinking about what will be necessary for me in Chicago, and I'll give you a scenario. Maybe I am, you know, someone who likes to ride 2-3 times a week for exercise, a little bit for transportation, I'm someone's willing to maybe put my bike up on public transportation to get around the city. So what kind of bike should I start looking at with those kind of circumstances?
Probably the right bike for you is what is called a hybrid bike, which is a term that I hate, but it's honestly the best term that we have for the item, because unlike a mountain bike and a road bike, which really are pretty defined categories for bicycles, a hybrid is sort of a catch-all. It means it takes things from both road bikes and mountain bikes. So maybe it's going to have slightly skinnier tires like a road bike for going fast on the streets, but it's going to have the flat handlebars of a mountain bike and a slightly more relaxed posture of a mountain bike for the maneuverability. Hybrids are also going to have customization points, right? You'll have mounts for fenders and racks if you want to start commuting and carry a bag with you as you go. Fenders are really important for biking in the city because we do get weather here, and fenders keep the water and snow and salt from spraying on your clothes, but it also keeps it from spraying on the bike, which will improve the longevity of your components, right? Keeping that salt off of the chain is going to help it not rust as quickly, which means you're going to be spending less money getting the bike fixed.
Hi, I'm David Plotz, the CEO of CityCast. We've all set health goals: lose weight, exercise more, eat better. But without a plan, those goals often fade. That may have happened to you. It has definitely happened to me. And that's where Prolon comes in. Prolon's 5-day fasting mimicking diet gives you a science-backed, structured approach to stay on track and see real results. And now Prolon is upping their game with the new Next-Gen 5-day program, delivering the same science-backed benefits in a cleaner, more convenient, and more flavorful format. Prolon is a plant-based nutrition program featuring soups, snacks, and beverages designed to nourish the body while keeping it in a fasting state, triggering cellular rejuvenation and renewal. Next-Gen builds on the original Prolon with 100% organic soups and teas, a richer taste, and ready-to-eat meals. Developed over decades at USC's Longevity Institute and backed by top U.S. medical centers, Prolon has been shown to support biological age reduction, metabolic health, skin appearance, fat loss, and energy. I've been doing the 5-day program, and I feel so much better. I really enjoy the tasty energy bars, the snacks and soups, and the fact that I can enjoy meals, even though the calorie count is super low. The flavors and textures are excellent. An olive oil snack here, broccoli and quinoa soup there, hibiscus tea, a yummy nut bar. It's got the benefits of a 5-day fast, but doesn't have the challenge of doing it with pure liquids. It's a system reset. And also, I know this sounds funny, but it's not. The packaging and directions are fantastic, clear, and well-organized and thoughtful. For a limited time, you can be first in line to experience the new Next-Gen at special savings. Prolon is offering CityCast listeners 15% off site-wide, plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe to their 5-day program. Just visit prolonlife.com/city. That's PROLONLIFE.com/city to claim your 15% discount and your bonus gift. prolonlife.com/city. This episode of CityCast is sponsored by Babbel. Learning a new language opens the door to new friends, new cultures, maybe even a whole new life. So why not start the journey today with Babbel? You can start speaking a new language with confidence thanks to Babbel's conversation-based technique. It quickly teaches you useful words and phrases about the things you actually talk about in the real world. There are more than a dozen languages available for you to learn at your own pace, with material tailored to your individual proficiency level, interests, and time availability. I'm David Plotz, CEO of CityCast, and I've been learning Spanish with Babbel and brushing up a teeny bit on my French. But there's also Turkish, Swedish, Dutch, German, many more languages. Babbel's tips and tools for learning a new language are approachable and accessible. It's like having a private tutor in your pocket. I particularly love Babbel's guided conversations, which let me practice real-world conversations. What to say at the doctor's office, how to leave a party, using speech recognition to make sure I'm getting the pronunciation right. Babbel's mobile app and website have real-time feedback, progress trackers, and clear visualizations. They're helping me improve my Spanish in only 10 minutes a day. So get talking with Babbel. I want you to learn another language, so I'm teaming up with Babbel to gift you 55% off subscriptions, but only for CityCast listeners at babbel.com/CityCast. Get up to 55% off at babbel.com/CityCast. Spelled BABBEL.com/CityCast. Babbel.com/CityCast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
If someone doesn't want to go to a big box store or order their bike online, they want to get some assistance, some suggestions. Are there food places around the city that maybe have some budget friendly options all the way up if, budget is no restriction for people? Where are some places you think are great recommendations for people around the city?
Yeah, let's talk about what it means to buy a bike and buy a bike at the different types of places that you can buy bikes here in the city. So I'm going to start with a traditional bike shop. This is like a Trek or a Specialized shop or a shop that carries a couple of the bigger name brands. They have a service department, right? They support their own bikes. If you get a flat, you can take a bike there and you can pay them and they'll fix the flat or they'll give it a tune-up. And when you buy a new bicycle there, it's like buying a new car. What you're getting is you're getting a warranty and you're getting the support of the brand behind that product. That is usually going to be the most expensive option for buying a bike. But there are definitely benefits to getting that warranty and that support, especially if you plan to ride that bike a lot and put it through a lot.
Are there any other options of type of bike shops or places where people can buy bikes?
You can buy a bike online on Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. Those bikes are going to be often the cheapest way to find a bike. But the downside of buying a bike online is you don't know what condition it comes to you in. You don't know what sort of mechanical issues you are inheriting with this purchase. So you might buy a bike online for $100 and then you take it into the bike shop and the mechanic throws it up in the stand and says, hey, I hate to tell you this, but this has about $200 to $300 worth of repairs that it needs on it. And then you say, oh, I could have just bought a bike for $400 in the first place and not had to go through all this pain. Then there are used bike shops. This is the type of bike shop that I work for. I work for the Recyclery. We are a educational nonprofit co-op bike situation here in Rogers Park. And what I do is I refurbish used bikes that have been donated to us and I sell them to you for essentially half of the price of what you might buy it for in a new shop. Do we want to talk price ranges real quick?
Yeah, I'd love to.
So starting price for like a basic bike in a new bike shop these days is about $600, right? If you're trying to look for that flat bar hybrid, maybe you get a couple accessories on it, you're looking $600 to $1,000 for a new bike. If you're buying a bike from a refurbishing bike shop, it's usually going to be starting around $300. What you get when you buy a refurbished bike from a bike shop is you get a bike that you know has had a mechanic's eyes on it, and you know that you're not inheriting any mechanical issues with it. Our bike shop even provides a little 30-day warranty where if something goes wrong with the bike in the first 30 days, you can bring it back and we'll take care of it. But what you're not getting is you're not getting that sort of couple year warranty that you get when you purchase a new bike.
According to a 2023 report from People for Bikes, Chicago is actually one of the worst cities for biking, apparently, right? The big things the report brought up was that we lack safe bikeways or there are gaps in the network, which we have covered extensively on this show. How do you keep yourself safe biking in the city and manage when there aren't, bike paths to take uniformly from neighborhood to neighborhood?
Yeah, there are big gaps, unfortunately, in our bike infrastructure, and biking safely in the city, I think, is about knowing which streets you feel comfortable biking on and finding them and relying on them. And that starts from your home and spreads out slowly as you use your bike to go to more and more locations, right? We take different routes in cars than we do on bikes because the fastest way to get somewhere in a car might be going down Sheridan. But if you're biking down Sheridan here in Rogers Park, that's a scary affair, and I don't recommend it. So it's about finding the streets that you're comfortable on, sort of radiating out from where you live as you take your bike to go different places. What I encourage people to do is to try to start using their bike, not just to get out, but try to use it as a tool for one activity. Maybe it's picking up groceries. Maybe you decide, hey, I need a couple things at the grocery store. I'm going to put on my backpack, ride to the grocery store, get all the stuff in, and ride back. And then maybe it's, I'm going to go thrifting on my bike. As you start to plot out these different chores that you can run on your bike, these different ways that your bike can be a tool in your life, you'll really develop these networks of streets that you feel comfortable and can rely on, and you'll start to feel ownership over your navigation of the city.
I like that suggestion. I really do. You know, for someone like yourself who's got their gear, got their bicycle of choice, like how do you keep your bike safe throughout the city? And, how do you protect your equipment, throughout the seasons?
You got to get a lock. U-locks are great. They can be a little bit difficult to use sometimes, a little bit rigid. You might be tempted to get one of those cable locks, one of those combo cable locks. Those are fine for short term, but I would never lock my bike up with something like that and leave it unattended overnight, because those can be cut with a snipper. And U-locks can be cut through with a buzzsaw. Nothing is bike theft proof. So when you're locking your bike, I recommend locking it temporarily. And when you can, you store it inside, if that's a possibility.
I come from the school of, especially growing up, that any mechanical error with a bike could be fixed by taking the chain off, putting the chain back on, putting some air into the tires, right? So I never really went to YouTube University on how to fix a bike. If a person has already spent a ton of money on a bike and they don't want to think about it as their car, right? They don't want to go for quick repairs. They want to learn on their own. Where would you tell people to go if they're not sure how to fix it themselves?
I would encourage people to start fixing certain things on their bicycle. Yes, if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you get flat, and there's no bike shop around that's open, how are you getting home? I recommend people to start basic. Learn how to fix a flat on your bike. Practice it a couple times. I would recommend, if you're starting off, just to carry a spare inner tube of the right size. And you'll need tire levers to get the tires off of the rim. And then you'll need some sort of pump or CO2 canister to reinflate the new inner tube.
Do you have these things on you every time you go for a ride?
I don't carry a pump or a CO2 canister myself. I'm never too far outside of the city itself. So I'm always confident that I can maybe find a gas station that has a air pump for car tires. But I do always carry a spare inner tube and levers on my bicycle in the event of a flat. I highly recommend people start with that. And then simple maintenance of your bike is regularly pumping up the tires. Tires lose air actually pretty quickly, a lot faster than they do on a car. Especially if you have skinny road tires, they can become underinflated in about a week. So you should be topping off those tires weekly. If you have a mountain bike, it's more like monthly. But bike tires leak air very fast. And that's just because they are thinner than car tires and they run higher PSIs than car tires.
Oh, that is a really good point. I honestly am very reactive when it comes to tire pressure and putting air in my tires. It's only after I've noticed there's a problem, I've sort of been grinding too long.
But there are organizations that can help teach you mechanicry in Chicago. We are one of them. We hold an open shop where the public can bring their bike and put it in our stand, use our tools, look through our used parts, and we have volunteers there to instruct you on how to do the repair of your bicycle. And YouTube is an awesome resource. There are all sorts of videos on how to fix certain things on your bike. But that can be difficult because how do you know what's wrong with your bike, right? How do you know what to search? So you do need somebody to help sort of diagnose it for you first.
Liam Moline is a mechanic with the Recyclery up in Rogers Park, and today helped us as we are thinking about getting our bikes ready for the riding season. Liam, thank you so much for making time for us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It was fantastic.
If you want to see a list of some spots to buy a new or refurbished bike, check the show notes. Up next, we've got a segment sponsored by Women Employed about their mission and their Working Lunch fundraising event.
Hey, it's executive producer Simona Licea here with Sharita Ellens, the CEO of Women Employed. Sharita, welcome back to CityCast Chicago.
Thank you so much for having me again.
So Women Employed has been doing this work for over 50 years. What keeps driving this mission forward today?
The reason why this mission is still relevant more than 50 years after our founding is because the issues are still relevant. We're still working to close the wealth gap, the wage gap. We're still working to get women into any industry they might want to be in. We're still working to make workplaces work for everyone and ensure that they're inclusive. We're still working to make sure that women have access to the education and training opportunities that will put them on path to earning higher wages. And so all of these things, while we have made great progress, there's still so much work to do. And then today, in the current environment that we're in, it's all in peril.
Can you talk about the ways that you are centering women's voices in this work? How does that kind of show up in the changes you're pushing for?
So we're championing their rights. We're expanding their opportunities. We're making sure that women are actually at the table informing what the needs are and what the solutions need to be. We understand what works for us. We understand what we need. And too often we've been absent from the discussion. And we're making sure that women are at the table. We're sharing their stories. We're unapologetic about centering women. It's who we are. I know in this day and time, everyone's afraid to say that they're centering anyone in particular, right? Everyone's afraid to talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion because it is being attacked almost at every front. But the facts don't change that diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives are still needed. And women is one of the populations among people of color that need to be centered in making sure that we're closing the gaps and making sure that they don't continue to be marginalized and making sure that their rights aren't being infringed upon, making sure that they have access to those rights and that they're able to fight for them without fear.
Mm-hmm. That shows up in Springfield, advocating for legislation, as well as providing direct resources for folks. One thing that is happening coming up this month is the Working Lunch. You've got some amazing honorees at this year's event. Tell us a little bit about who they are and why they're being recognized.
So first, the Working Lunch is May 22nd. There is still time to get your tickets. So we want everybody to go online and purchase their tickets. And the honorees this year, we're really excited about. We have Gail Eisenberg, who is a 2-term New Trier Township supervisor. She's a mother of school-aged children, and she's a civil rights attorney. And so she is squarely centered in the work that we do. She represents women, people of color, and older workers. We also have Chicago Women in Trades, and they work to build women's access and promote their advancement in the skilled trades through programs, policy and advocacy, technical assistance. And then our emerging power builder is Isabel Dobell. Izzy is also what she's known as. She's the current Deputy Chief of Staff for the Office of Speaker Emanuel Welch, and she previously served as the Political Director of Chicago Federation of Labor.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be really powerful, really interesting. What should listeners know if they want to get involved and attend the event this year?
They can go on our website, womenemployed.org, and purchase a ticket. That's all it takes.
Sounds easy enough, Sharita.
It sounds easy enough. It's May 22nd. It'll be at the Hilton Chicago, 720 South Michigan. The networking reception will be from 11 to noon, which is something you don't want to miss. We will have about 800 people in attendance, so it's a great opportunity for you to network. And then the program and lunch will be from 12 to 1:30.
Sharita, thank you so much for being here again. Check out womenemployed.org/TWL to learn more about the event, reserve tickets and a table. We're going to have that link for you in the show notes as well. Thanks so much again for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Before we get out of here, I want to give a huge thank you to some CityCast Chicago neighbors who just joined up in the last few days. A huge shout out to Janicia P., Susan S., Juan Sebastian A., and Mara N. Again, we really appreciate y'all support. Y'all becoming CityCast Chicago neighbors. Continue putting us on with your friends and family. And you're like, Jacoby, what the hell is CityCast Chicago neighbors? I got you. That's the name of our membership program. You can join anytime at membership.citycast.fm. Of course, I can't let you go without some good news. In honor of the legend Stevie Wonder's 75th birthday, Chicago has some tribute events happening this week and next, including tonight at Untitled Supper Club. On Saturday, MSB Dance, a youth dance org on the South Side, is hosting their spring recital titled Wonder. And next week, City Winery has Songs in the Key of Life, a B-Day tribute. I don't know about y'all, but Stevie has been the soundtrack to birthdays, graduations, homegoings, homecomings, and everything in between for the family. So I'm going to drop these events in our show notes. As always, we appreciate you for listening, reading, becoming a CityCast Chicago neighbor, and most importantly, being back here bright and early tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. Peace. Till we meet again.